How did the decision with Buck come about?
How did what?
The decision with Buck come about?
Well, you know, I mean, the way it works, when you bring in a president of baseball ops, I mean, they're entitled to bring in their own people. And, you know, I mean, obviously, wasn't sure if David was going to join us, and finally he joined us. And, you know, it became clear that, you know, he wanted to go in a different direction, and that's certainly his right. And I gave him that right. You know, it's no different than when a CEO comes into a new company, right? They bring in some of their own people. This is not a reflection on Buck. Buck did everything we wanted him to do. You know, obviously the season was a disappointment, but it's not Buck's fault, okay? You know, it's spread across the organization. And but like I said, you know, when you bring in a new head of baseball ops, they're entitled to bring in their own people.
To follow up on that, Steve, do you and David have someone in particular in mind, or is this going to be a full, exhaustive search?
Well, you know, I mean, I've tried to keep it really high level with David, and he'll be, you know, obviously starting tomorrow. And so, you know, these are really his decisions. I've empowered him, and you know, so he'll make that decision.
How would you just overall evaluate Buck's tenure here?
You know something, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, it's 2 years. We had a great season last year. This year, obviously, didn't go the way we wanted to go. You know, Buck did everything we wanted him to do. You know, not everything went right this year, and yet he kept an even keel. The players loved him. And, you know, these are always hard things to do. And so, you know, I personally have no complaints. You know, I enjoyed, you know, I loved having Buck here. You know, I think he did a fine job.
Mike?
Steve, given what you said about Buck, I mean, is it possible you could have finished first and brought in Stearns and still made this managerial change, or would that have been a different discussion?
Yeah, it's all hypothetical, right? I mean, you know, there's always what ifs, but in general, when you make a change, I mean, I strongly believe they're entitled to bring in the people they want to bring in.
Joel?
Steve, was he able to quantify to you why he thought someone new would be better than someone you yourself has said you liked and did a good job here?
You know, listen, it's, you know, this gets into, you know, personal choice, and you know, maybe you can ask David that tomorrow. You know, these are never easy decisions, and you know, but like anything else, you know, just because someone wants to go a different way doesn't make the other person, you know, a bad person, right? I mean, just a matter of choice and personal preference.
Dave?
Steve, so you knew that fairly early on when Dave came aboard, you guys were going to make that shift, or is that something you guys had discussed in the weeks?
I mean, you know, first I didn't know if he was going to sign, right? So I mean, obviously, you know, but it was something that was discussed on a high level, and you know, once David signed, you know, we kind of knew where it was going to go. It's just a question of when you do it. Typically, it's done at the end of the season normally. And once again, no reflection on Buck, just wanting a change in direction.